Happy Social Media Day. Actually, it's a couple of days after Social Media Day, but if you did tune in to try and see my session, you would have noticed that our broadcast didn't actually display with sound. So we're very sorry about that. So I'm re-recording it for you with full sound. And thank you very much for tuning in, whether or not you tried to tune in the first time or you're tuning in now. We really appreciate it. Something else we appreciate, so going very lo-fi, we might be digital, but we can also get hands-on as well. So before I start, I want to give a huge thanks to Jen Everson, who has pulled this day together, Social Media Day in Adelaide 2015. She's done an awesome job in a very, very short amount of time to arrange the day's worth of speakers and sessions and drinks. So thank you very much, Jen. I'm very fortunate to work with her. She is an absolute gem. Thanks. So I'll get into it because I still want to keep this very short and sweet, even though I now have the luxury of time. I'm Erica Nistico from Scout Digital Marketing, and today I'm going to be talking about email marketing, specifically some examples for MailChimp, but we'd like to go beyond MailChimp 101 and give you my 3 top tips for enhancing your email marketing campaigns. I'll jump straight into it because we don't have very much time. They're broken up today into 3 categories: seg, so, mo. So segmentation, social media, and mobile. And firstly, before we get into it, obviously, this is Social Media Day, but we do want to think about all aspects of digital marketing, and the way that social media and email marketing work together, we thought was worthwhile including email marketing in the mix, and there was a lot of interest from our audience. So just to kind of explain, we do realise there's a bit of a difference there. So a few stats, because I do love my stats, and this is the main reason for me having my notes, so you can get all of these. 91% of consumers check their email at least once a day, and if you're anything like me, you probably check it a hell of a lot more times than once a day. But this is just a little stat to hit home that email marketing certainly isn't dead in this world of social media, and it can be a really, really powerful component of your digital marketing and can complement what you're doing with social, which we'll talk about a bit more later on. Another couple of stats for you. Email is the most popular activity on smartphones amongst users aged 18 to 44, so a fairly big and important bracket there. And it might be surprising that phones, which we can call and text on, email is actually the most popular thing you can do on it. So there we go for a lot of users. And this is probably no surprise, and again, like me, you're probably guilty of it as well, but over half of smartphone users check their phones immediately after waking up. And that becomes quite important when we start talking about time of day. Sorry, I've got some cats over here. If you did tune into my session last week, you would have seen my 5-month-old son, and tonight I've got cats, so crazy times. Immediately after waking up. So again, we're really addicted to our phones, and it affects the way we're engaging and communicating and delivering information as well. So the first topic I was going to talk about was segmentation, which is, in a nutshell, managing your user data so you can send emails, dedicated emails to specific segments of your audience to really target a message that's relevant to them, and content or information that they're interested in or you want to deliver to them based on key aspects about them, like demographics, their gender, location, interests, etc. So rather than just doing a mass spray and pray email blast to your entire database, it's having that information about people, so you can go, I want to send this email to people who have purchased from me in the last 3 months, people who haven't purchased from me in the last 3 months, people who are female, people who are based in South Australia, any combination of factors, but you need to have that data. So why do we want to do that? It's obviously a lot more work, but targeted emails have a 14.4% better open rate than the list average. And MailChimp provides some really interesting data which shows the averages for all of the different industries. But when we talk very generically about email, 30% tends to be a good average open rate. So if you can improve that by 14.4%, it's definitely worthwhile doing. Anything you can do to improve your open rate, do it. And from the start, ideally. Another little stat is targeted emails tend to have a 14.9% better click rate. And again, like 30% open rate might be considered quite small. Often with a click rate, you can get down to 1 or 2% of subscribers who receive an email might actually open and then go on to click on it. So again, anything you can do to improve that. If the message is relevant to them, they're much more likely to open your email and hopefully do whatever the email is asking them to do. So worthwhile targeting emails appropriately. So, like I said, we are talking about MailChimp, but any email marketing system should allow you to manage multiple pieces of information about your subscribers and then allow you to send those targeted emails to them. Within MailChimp, this is actually managed by groups and segments. So you have your overall subscriber list. Within your subscriber list, you can create groups and you can add or import your subscribers to those specific groups, or you can actually allow them to subscribe themselves to those groups. So they're automatically putting themselves in there based on the different types of information that you're asking from them. From those groups, you can then make segments, and it's the segments that you're actually emailing to. So this can be a little bit confusing within MailChimp, but just remember, if you look at my next page, and this is going to make much more sense if you log in to your system and have a look. So your groups are your predefined data. So that may be information that you're bringing in from your content management system. Might be coming in automatically or manually, or it may be coming in from a sign-up form. But either way, it's predefined information that you're creating within that list. And that could be if you have information about the location of your subscribers, what else have I got here? Their gender, their interest, their type. So it may be a subscription form where they can tick, I'm interested in receiving product discounts, new product information, birthday deals, special offers, those types of things. Let people actually segment themselves on your subscription form rather than just getting their email address and name. But don't overwhelm them at all. You do have to consider how much information you can take and store about them in regards to privacy. But unfortunately, I don't have time to talk about that today. Segments. Your segments are created either from your groups or they can be created dynamically in MailChimp from your subscriber activity. So when you actually go to send your email campaign, there's actually a lot of information that allows you to create a segment on the fly. It may be based on the date that subscriber was added. Either you imported them or they imported themselves. Their location based on what MailChimp picks up about where they're opening and engaging with your email from. Their language or even their email client. And this is a really interesting one because it'll actually identify, when we talk about mobile later on, it'll identify all of those users who are actually opening your emails from mobile devices as well. And you may want to send an email just to people who are opening your mobile from iPhones, for example. So really interesting opportunities there. So groups, you can create them within your list, and then you can also create a segment from your group that you send to. Segments, like I said, come from groups or create them on the fly when you select who you're sending to. I forgot to mention, so within MailChimp, you can actually only send to one list at a time. Other email marketing programs will allow you to tick multiple lists, but MailChimp doesn't. And that's why groups are even more important, because you can keep all of your subscribers in one master list, but you can then attach those specific pieces of information to them to allow you to do this type of tailored email marketing. Okay, like I said, we've only got a very short amount of time, so I am rushing through these, but do go back and have a look later on. Our second asset was talking about social media. So first of all, I do want to touch on, like I said, email marketing, social media can really, really complement each other. A couple of the ways that we suggest using email campaigns, people will go, well, I'm sharing this information on social media. Why do I need to send people emails? people do check Facebook and Twitter and other social media channels a lot, but they don't always necessarily check just after you've posted. So they may actually be missing your update in their newsfeed, or they may not be engaging with your content often enough on Facebook, so that your content's been given priority of space in their newsfeed. And email, on the other hand, will actually sit in their inbox, hopefully in their inbox, not in spam or junk, in their inbox until they open it or delete it. So it's going to sit there and wait for them, whereas social media does not wait for anyone. But ways you can use them together, you may want to have an email campaign that summarises some of the best posts that you've shared through your social channels over the last week or the last month. They may be the ones that you've got the most engagement with, or they may be the ones that are most important to you. You can also, rather than just share the same information, perhaps you're using your social media channels to provide some background information about a product or service that you have on offer, but it's the email that you actually use to try and get them to sign up or purchase or subscribe or take that action. Like, email is a very action-oriented activity. Social media, we tend to like to browse a lot still. We're consuming information. We're looking at funny pictures of cats and what our friends have been doing and babies. But email, whether it's on our mobile, because people are starting to become much more comfortable with transactions on mobiles as well, something else to consider. But if you are thinking about people traditionally at their computer, they may be more likely to make that purchase or undertake that transaction or activity in email. So soften them up on social, go in for the queue on email. Anyway, a couple of points thinking about email and social media. Adding social sharing buttons, this is a stat from Social Times, can actually increase the click-through rate by 150%, and that is huge. So again, we're talking about some low amounts of click-through rate, so anything you can do to improve them is really, really valuable. And MailChimp's default templates, they will come with, most of them do come with Twitter and Facebook sharing icons that share the entire email campaign. But when I'm talking about these social sharing buttons as well, don't just think about sharing the overall email campaign, but MailChimp and other email marketing systems allow you to actually put these social sharing tags on any piece of information within the email. So if you have an email campaign that has multiple blog posts or items or products within it, you can actually use this merge tag to include a like button or a tweet button, or there are other, Facebook comment, Facebook share. Use that, this little bit of code creates that Facebook and Twitter button within your text so that people can click on it and it will automatically share that piece of content based on the URL to their Twitter feed or Facebook newsfeed, rather than just the big overall email campaign. So this is actually in the campaign editor. You'll see there's a little drop-down menu called Merge Tags, and that includes things like first name. So if you're personalising your email, that's where you'll grab the merge tag for first name. Includes any piece of data that you have attached to your subscribers, but also allows you to create these. So just this little star, pipe, Facebook, colon, like, colon, whatever the URL is. So that's your blog post or product, pipe, star, turns into a beautiful little button. And obviously you can track the clicks on that as well if you're putting tagging in there. So nifty little trick to keep in mind. I did also want to talk about with social media. MailChimp and other systems do allow you to automatically share your email campaign to your Facebook page and Twitter account when it's sent, so whether or not you're sending it straight away or you're scheduling to send later. This can be a really, really nifty little feature, and you can even tailor the Twitter text that goes along with it. But I would just keep in mind what time of day you're sharing, you're sending out your email, and whether or not that's going to be relevant on your channels as well. So if you're sending something at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, which scheduling allows you to do, you don't have to be awake to do it. Is it really going to hit your audience, your right audience on Twitter and Facebook at that time of day? Or do you want to share it manually later on? Also, when someone gives you their email address, it's quite a trusted thing that they're doing. They're saying, I want to receive email from you. And you really have to value that. And it may be that you don't want to just share exactly the same information at exactly the same time across your social channels and email, but say to people, if you subscribe to us, you're going to be getting our special offers or our discounts or our competition information or whatever it is ahead of time of everyone else, because you've entrusted this information to us. We're going to give you the benefit of blah, blah, blah. So it may not actually be worthwhile to use that automated sharing. You may want to hold off on sharing it later on or not share at all, but just a little bit of food for thought. And finally, talking about mobile, another stat for you. Lots of users check their email on their mobile devices. Did you like that one? I did actually try and find the exact percentage, but it changes so quickly. And basically what we know are more and more people are checking their email on their mobile devices and, multiple times a day. So you need to keep it in mind when you're sending out your email campaigns. I've got a few points here that I'll just rush through. My top tips for mobile-friendly emails. I can't read this back to front. Okay, use responsive templates. Now, if you're using the MailChimp templates, so whether they're the basic templates that you customize or their themes, which are all really, really good, all of them are responsive design, so they will adapt depending on what device they're being viewed on. So really, really good. Obviously, you don't want people having to scroll on their screen. They're not going to read your email if it doesn't actually fit in the width there. So make sure you test it. Send a test email to yourself. Check it on your devices. Have a look at it and check that it's coming out the way that you want. Keep your layout really, really simple. Yeah, sorry. Just on your theme. It's really tempting to get all fancy and have images and text wrapping around and all this type of thing. But if it's not going to display well on mobile, it's not worth your while. Just give the people the information, give it really quick and easy. Small images, fast loading, those types of things. Easy, easy, easy. Link to mobile-friendly pages. Obviously, if you're going to the trouble of making sure that your email campaign is responsive and mobile-friendly and you're asking people to click on a link, make sure they're not going to a little page that they're going to have to scroll as well. So mobile-responsive websites and pages there as well. Make your links big and easy to click on with fingers, not with mice. MailChimp's content editor actually includes this mobile style section. In the campaign builder, there's a mobile style section. So you can make text bigger, links bigger, those types of things, so that if the email will detect if it's being opened on a mobile device and you'll automatically use those larger and easier mobile styles. So make use of that as well. Also with those links, link anything. Like, don't just have a little tiny click here text link. If you've got an image that's related to that product or to the article, make the image link. If there's a title, make the title link. If there's a read more button, make that nice and big. It might sound like overkill, and obviously you don't want them too close and overlapping, but you want people to be able to click on it. So big links, test as well. And make sure your images are mobile friendly as well. You want them to be fast loading, so actually crop them to the size that you need for mobile before you upload it. If you don't have access to Photoshop, there's a great online tool called webresizer.com that allows you to punch in the pixel width that you want and pop it in there, and it'll load nice and fast on people's emails. And so size them correctly. The templates will tell you what size to make those images. And make sure they're in the content blocks that the MailChimp templates offer you. If they're not within the blocks, they won't resize when they're viewed on mobile devices. They'll actually break that template. So make sure you're popping them in the content blocks. The other thing that you need to do is just consider high density screens as well. So Retina display devices now. images that are 72 dpi and set to the right pixel dimensions will actually come out blurry. So what you can do is still have your images 72 dpi, but make the pixel dimensions twice as wide and use those. And then again, within MailChimp, there's a little tick box option in the campaign builder that constrains images by 50% for high definition displays. So that'll mean on displays that aren't high definition, it'll show the right image size. On displays that are high definition, it'll display the right image size. So good for everyone. Nifty little thing there. And check your list stats as well. So like I said earlier, within your MailChimp list, you can actually, in those stats, see what types of devices people are opening your emails on. That'll give you a better understanding as to whether you have a highly engaged mobile audience or not, and also see how that's changing over time. Again, a lot of time is spent in creating these emails and sending them. Make sure you're looking at the stats and the reports afterwards. And this one actually doesn't come up in your MailChimp report. You've got to go back to your list stats to get that information. And also slightly related to mobile, MailChimp does have a really good mobile app for iPhones and I assume Androids. I use it on my iPhone. It gives you a scaled down version of MailChimp. What I find it really useful is looking at those reports on the go. So if you've scheduled an email to go out at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, rather than having to go to your computer, log on to MailChimp. That's what it looks like when you log on. You can just click on the app and check that it's sent. Check the opens and clicks as you're going, and I like to look at it throughout the day because most of those opens tend to happen in the first few hours of the email being sent, and they'll peter off throughout the day. But you can just keep an eye on it as you go and then look at your full report later on. Okay, I've just gone over time, even though this is the second time I've done this, but thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being part of our Social Media Day and Social Media Day Adelaide. Again, thanks very much to Jen. I'm Erica Nistico from Scout Social. You can check us out here. Tweet me if you've got any more questions, and have a wonderful day or evening as the case may be. Thank you. Bye.